Friday, December 22, the last day of the week before Christmas this coming Monday. So we have a 3-day weekend in front of us and Christmas. Often in front of holidays and or 3-day weekends, the market does some unusual things very late in the day. So be aware of that. We've got a little bit more of a rally in our hands, which is good for the Santa Claus rally rules. And this morning we bought our last and third at 7:05 California time, long S&P. So now we have three, one from Wednesday, one from yesterday, and one from today. And we'll get to that chart in a few minutes. They're doing, a little bit profit, mostly because of yesterday's purchase. Now, I still, on a personal basis, and because of the ER signals, which have nothing to do with the Santa Claus rally, the ER signals are just totally the opposite, actually, at the moment, of what the Santa Claus rally is saying, and that is it should bottom out somewhere just before Christmas, and generally speaking, rally between Christmas and New Year's, and you're supposed to be getting out of your positions in the first few days of January, which I will detail to the minute next week. Now, so far so good. We have a rally of 160 at the moment on the spider, not that much, and only a half a point on the DIA, and the Qs are up 1 1/4. So the markets are up a little, but not particularly close to the high of today, and not that much higher on the day. It would be easy to turn red or negative for the day, net lower than yesterday's close. And if we do that, I think we're going to see more weakness before the bell. And if we see a lot, we might end up with a second bearish red engulfing day, but that's only if we get below and stay below yesterday's lows, which is kind of iffy, but it's possible. Now, personally, ER sell signal, looking for a break, but then hopefully in the first few days of January, it'll be back to here or higher. Next chart. It is the spider daily data. Same kind of story here. We came very, very close to getting stopped out this morning, but did not hit our protective buy stop. And we are still short ER3 overnight with a small loss. Next, and I'm looking for a downside retracement because of my trading signals down to, just a moment, let's see if I can reverse this. And yep, sorry, it's giving me a little bit of a problem today. By the way, you can always contact me at info@ersignals.com. Right there, info@ersignals.com. Next, spider we just talked about, and then the 1 minute spider, I believe, is coming up, but it is giving me some problem. There we go. So we're short from a couple of days ago and have a losing trade at the moment. Gap code kicked in on the opening, so our stop jumped, which is a very rare circumstance. We'll see what develops. Next chart. DIA still short. Signal was Wednesday. There have been no new highs higher than Wednesday's high. We have a little loss in the trade. Let's see what happens. Next, the Russell, we did make a new high, and we are stopped out just about exactly where we're trading at the moment at 202.20-ish. Oops. Not every trade can make money. So I'm still looking at the possibility or probability of a top here and a move down to close that gap at a minimum on the Russell. Again, really not falling into place for me. The Santa Claus rally is a little better, but we'll see. Qs. No higher high, very close, still short, a little bit of a loss at a major resistance level. Important levels, and we're getting sell signals, but it's not cooperating yet. The day isn't over. All right, next, NASDAQ futures, same. We're short, a little bit of a loss. We're not stopped out, and we're looking for a move down, in this case, also to close a bit of a gap, small one, or maybe a little bit lower, but probably not below 15,980-ish. Next, I'm not looking for a big correction. I'm looking for a small one for a few days, and then hopefully at the beginning of January, new highs. So this is the 1 minute data on the March E-mini. And as you can see, it's coming up a little bit at the moment. Let's take a look at the Santa Claus rally specifically. And that is where we are right now. We have an average of the first trade and today's trade right around 470. So for 474.95 is one of them, and 475.02 is the one from this morning. And they're both a little bit of a loss at the moment, with the market trading at 474.5. But we did buy one down here yesterday at 471.22-ish. I forgot exactly what that's exactly the entry point and price. And we are trading at 474.50. So that offsets the losers. And we have a net profit at the moment. Not much. And if this thing keeps going up today in front of the weekend, well, I don't know. We could have a runaway bull move here and a blow off top coming still, but things aren't falling into place for my signals at the moment. Let's go to the futures charts. And from a different perspective, we'll look at the E-mini again. And then I remind you, info at ersignals.com. You want me to analyze a sector, symbol, crypto, forex, stock, you name it, ask. Next, NASDAQ, same thing as before. Certainly doesn't look at the moment like it wants to go down, to be honest with you, but that's very deceiving often. Next, bonds. Started out earlier with a little bit of a rally, challenged the highs of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and is now below the close of Wednesday and Thursday, and doesn't have far to go to get below 2 or 3 other days. All of this week, if we start closing below 122.28, let's say, then I will say there's been a small short-term top, which is exactly what I'm expecting. In overbought conditions, a little bit above resistance at the beginning of a broad resistance area, and a bit of a dip. And that could actually develop a much bigger, better bullish formation longer term if it does that. And the 10-year notes are the same, but here we have not yet gotten stopped out of our long position from the bottom of the market. We bought the 10-year notes on October 23rd. And by the way, going back to the bonds, we had a bullish signal and bought the bonds on the same day, October 23rd, and green ER buy signal on both. Going back to the 10-year, no bearish possible sell signal, but looking very much like bonds. Resistance seems to be stalling it out, but we don't have any significant lower lows or any reversals yet. But that trade is doing so far extremely well. I just think we're going to get bumped out soon. That's just an opinion. Wait for your strategy to do the work for you if you trust the strategy. Next chart, crude oil, resistance area, short-term, intermediate, trend down, longer term, very iffy. Major support, held it, got oversold, rallied. I don't know. Keep a mouth shut before Christmas. Next, natural gas. Obviously, it looks like it's trying to push through a little resistance and probably get up to as high as the resistance area. That would be my upside objective, and then turn down again. Next, we've got heating oil in a rock and a hard spot, in a support and resistance zone, bounced off of the support area nicely, and might even try to get a little stronger here. If it can close at 278 plus, that'd be pretty interesting. Meantime, I'm not sure, so I'm gonna shut up on that one too. Gold. This has come back a bit further than I expected, but it's not doing that well at the moment. We did catch a great trade again in gold at the top, and it came down until we had a bullish engulfing, although not a buy signal. It was close to being oversold at the time, but we didn't have a buy signal, unfortunately. We did have a bullish engulfing at the turn, and I said so, and I thought it was going to rally, but it's been a little bit more than I expected. Let's see what happens here. But we had tons of time and elbow room to take good profits. And that signal was great. And that signal was unbelievably perfect. And that was a bad signal. And that was a great one. That was et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Next chart, silver and gold both have been fantastic for us this year. We had a sell signal recently, December 4th. And now today we have an outside down day. I think it's a bearish engulfing. Today's low is, here it comes, come on. Resistance acting a little slow here, 24.455, while yesterday's low was 24.465. Therefore, we are lower today than yesterday's low, and the high is obvious. We have an outside down day, bearish engulfing, and that could start it to swing back down again. I wouldn't be surprised. As if we had gotten overbought on this custom relative strength index subgraph, the RSI, and I learned RSI from Wells Wilder himself back in the 80s. We came close. That's about it. I haven't got a signal, but close. What about platinum? Nope. Pretty much the opposite, in fact. New high, probable new high close, and it didn't need to do it. It had already closed the gap and stalled out a few days ago, and now here it is pushing a new high ground again. Normally, that's pretty bullish. We are very close to overbought, and we are testing a previous high with a bearish engulfing sell signal right on top. And platinum has been pretty good to us this year as well. Look at how many times the reds and greens are on the high day or darn close to it. So I think it's going to stall out and turn back down, but it's not doing it yet. Next, high grade copper, minor double top, could have a bearish engulfing, was not overbought at resistance though. So I'm thinking a little bit of a dip is starting here. Next, soybeans did test the lowest low back when we had the bullish engulfing at the bottom on 1207. And now looks like a possible double bottom. If we can get stronger today, we'll have a bullish engulfing, but not quite yet. But this is going to be very interesting. Longer term positions, we could claim it was still long, but probably not. We probably got stopped out with a small loss and we're flat. But this input levels, which I believe is default 8 and 8. Yep. It hasn't moved the stop yet, so officially it's still long. Next, bean oil. Took a fantastic bear trade out of that. Now it's looking slowly, not quite too fast, and you're going to watch orange juice in a moment. Wow. This soybean oil looks like it could do what orange juice has just done in the last 3 days. If it starts closing below these lows, it could drop off pretty fast, pretty quick. And my next stopping point would be in the ballpark of 4170-ish. And I think that's going to happen. Next, soybean meal. It'll get dragged down with it probably, but it's already in a major area of support in general. Not very specific or accurate. Significant support around 364 could very well be reached. Next, corn. Go by the way of wheat. Been saying that off and on for many months, and they are doing about the same thing. Wheat generally has been leading the way down. I am expecting lower levels for corn. Would appear that we have a major support level starting to show up at 456, not that far away. That's what I'm looking for, 456. Next is wheat. Has had a rally up to resistance, stopped a couple of weeks ago with overbought conditions. Some of my favorite combination, and has just been going sideways here. I do think it's going to break down and start to challenge the lows and make new lows. Next, live cattle had a buy signal several days ago. Today's low is just a tiny bit lower low than the last few days, but it's not below the bottom of the buy signal or hitting our protective sell stop at this point. And it is a very small loss momentarily. Let's see what we can do with this. We did take a whopping great trade on the short side out of this prior. And now we just flip-flopped and got long. Let's see what happens with this. Next, live hogs, no signals lately. Dropped off into support, didn't hold all that well, got oversold, and is now looking a little bit more healthy. I'd like to see a close above this minor resistance level. Let's say a close above 73.5. And then I'd be more optimistic that we're going to get back up to 78 and maybe even 73 or 83. I meant 83. But I need a little bit more higher, stronger, quicker close. Next is OJ. Look at that one. Oh my, et cetera, et cetera. The stop has probably dropped down to here at least. It looks like this is now at the bottom of the support area and been holding for a while now. And I think we're looking at a low short term. We have two gaps to close. And interestingly enough, one of them is at the beginning of the support level. And then today happened, kaboom. So we have this gap. That's a possibility. So we might rally up to 354, but this one should get closed. And it might stop there because of two reasons, gap closure and resistance. Yeah, this is doing fabulous. I know, you know that I've been talking 287.30 for the downside objective measured. I don't know. Probably I started measuring it somewhere on these 2 dates, 12, 11, 12, 12, and then plopped it on the chart a day or two later. So fantastic. But now, again, I repeat, oversold, maybe a downside exhaustion gap, and at the bottom of a support area, support, next chart. Cocoa just keeps on chugging up. I can't say much more. Looks like it's going to make new highs. That's it. Next, we've got coffee acting a little strange lately, but the important thing is support held. We broke out of the resistance, got overbought, came back down to it on Wednesday and then Thursday and then this morning as well, and not doing too bad. Looks like it's going to try to make another new high. Not quite feeling super good about that opinion, but that's the best shot. Next, sugar. Oversold, may have finally caught. So now we're starting to work our way up, but not super impressive. If we rally at looking for 22.12 minimum, and I wouldn't be surprised to see 23.70, which should stop it if it's going to get up that high in the first place. I can't tell if it's turned around yet, but it's a very good possibility. Next is cotton the rag, and we're looking at support holding again. So I'm looking at 82 at a minimum, probably 83.15, 83.20. And there are a few areas a little bit higher, all the way back up to 88.25 that seem not out of the question. This is a very big sideways trading range. We're caught between a rock and a hard spot. And as long as it's bouncing back and forth, then it keeps bouncing back and forth. Sooner or later, it'll break out. But this looks like the beginning of another bounce. Next chart is our E-mini again, pulling back slightly, but no, not really. We're now up almost 2 points on the spider and 3/4, a little bit stronger than the beginning of the recording on the DIA. And the QQQ is also getting back up a little bit more. All right. You guys have a great weekend. Merry Christmas, season's greetings, etc. Talk to you on Tuesday, December 26th.